You converted to Islam?
Yes.
How old were you?
14.
What were you told what Islam's purpose is? Not your purpose. What's Islam's purpose?
Well, Islam says this. Why aren't we doing it, right? Like as a society, you don't have to be a perfect Muslim to at least enact, Islamic laws and rules.
That's why Muslims are doing whatever they're doing, because no Muslim that I know of knows the purpose of Islam.
So what, in your view, is the purpose of Islam?
But there's a car that's going to move, and someone's got the door, someone's got the knob, someone's got the steering, someone's got the gear, someone's got the seats. Everyone's going to come in together. Unless everybody comes together and moves, and someone puts the fuel and moves, Islam is not done. Islam hasn't even started. Right now, you doing whatever you're doing fetches me nothing. Me doing whatever I'm doing fetches you nothing. That's what Palestine is going through, right? Whatever we do fetches them nothing.
Fundamentally speaking, one of the things I've seen in all Muslim countries is that people have their view of Islam is one where they get told by their parents that here's a bunch of things that you need to do, right? Be successful, don't bring shame to the family. Your God is Allah. Pray to him with his ritual prayers. When Ramadan comes, don't forget to fast. And make sure you say the Shahada at least once. Telling me, what's the problem with UK Pakistanis? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean, what's the problem with UK Pakistanis?
Not just the mindset, it's the phenotype as well. They have this little crew cut with, shaven heads, and they have this certain accent. And they're wearing gold all the time. Certain identity of the Pakistani British.
Even other Pashtun thought I was Pashtun until I opened my mouth. So I
thought
that.
You were Pashtun when I first looked at you. Yeah.
I like to
so your
blend in.
DNA actually goes to some part of Europe, right?
Yeah.
So Pashtuns are Europeans. Call themselves the lost tribe of the Bani Israel. They are the only hope I have for a Muslim identity in the world. World, not just Pakistan. The world. They have kept that culture intact where the archetype of the man is still there. I found out Daniel Hakikatju because of those videos. I fell in love with that guy though. Most of the people don't like him. I love that guy. Zakir Naik is, he's always coming down to please or appease the ego of the person. Deedat, he did not do that. Deedat did the exact opposite, which is required, by the way. That you got to suppress the ego first, because it's not about who's talking. It's about what I'm talking about. And I wish more Muslim boys and girls would actually lean towards Ahmad Deedat and go towards his technique, psychological technique. Of course, you still have to learn whatever you have to learn.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Abdullah al Andalusi, and I'm very pleased and honored to have a wonderful guest on here, which is Brother Sahil Adeem. Pleased to meet you.
Same here, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
This is 4 months in the planning.
I know.
I think we've been chasing each other in different continents.
Literally continents, yes. Through different times, different time zones. Actually, I'll tell you why I was chasing you so much. I'm pretty greedy for your perspective and certain knowledge set that is very rare, mashallah. Allah has gifted you. We were trying, and still during this podcast, I'm going to lock something in, that we wanted you to come in, because I have this school. That's an online school, and I have another movement which is also online, which is IMS, Islamic Messaging System. We're trying to combine 2 billion Muslims together. It's going really well. Hundreds and thousands of people have come together, and they're just only two objectives, two funnels through which we're going to achieve the single objective. One is the intellectual warfare, and one is the psychological warfare, and that's IMS. But my academy is called SourceCode.academy. That's the website, www.sourcecode.academy. And that's very serious people are coming in source code. So I was calling everybody to get Abdullah al Andalusi to start teaching a course for my students here in source code. They're from 119 countries. Muslims coming from everywhere. So it's got to be English. It's got to be from your skill set, your knowledge set, your your way of making this intellectual movement, get well grounded in the Muslim mind, and they're kids and adults. But I was trying to make sure that, of course, your content is very, very strong. So we're going to try and come up with a kids version later, but for adults from all of these countries. That's what my initiative was for my team to get this guy. I need this guy.
Barakallah fiqh, I'm very humbled. I don't know what I could possibly teach apart from maybe how to wear a suit, but that's one of those things. But subhanallah, but since you reached out to me, some developments happened in my life, you could say. I went to Pakistan. I was initially invited by a student of mine who was going to get married in Lahore. He had his nikah in Lahore, so he invited me to go. And I had other people that were strangely at the same time, maybe podcasters who had reached out to me to do podcasts with me while I was still in England, just like over Zoom or what have you. But then they had invited me and saying, if you do come to Pakistan, if ever you want to come to Pakistan, we'll show you around, and there's plenty of people that like to meet you. And so I thought, you know what, Bismillah, I will go on a combination, you could say, holiday and da'wah thing. So I kind of jumped on the chance. I initially went for 1 month. What I didn't anticipate, though, going to Pakistan was I think you mentioned, you said in the previous podcast that you flew to Melbourne and it was on the 6th of October.
Yeah.
I flew into Pakistan on the date of the Pahalgam terror attack in Kashmir.
Interesting.
And then I was in Sialkot, which is obviously right next to the Indian border and surrounded. I mean, a lot of Pakistan's right next to the Indian border, but it was almost like a peninsula surrounded
inside,
by the
Indians. Yeah.
The Indian border.
It's the one city inside India right now. Sialkot is inside India. Yeah. It just protrudes inside the.
It protrudes into it. Yeah. And then seeing the rhetoric ramp up to war, and then obviously India's strike, and then Pakistan's counter strike, and then it getting escalating to the point that people were speculating as to whether nuclear weapons would be dropped next. And there I am in the Sialkot, having in nighttime, seeing blackouts occur, like a World War II tactic, as if GPS didn't exist. Both India and Pakistan blacked out the lights at night. Maybe it was to prevent drones, like drone reconnaissance, or make it harder for drones, whatever.
Yes, standard protocol in Pakistan, yeah.
Yeah, but all I saw that changed on the ground, despite the fact I was, watching the news was quite. There's a lot of people being alarmed by what's going on. But on the ground, apart from the soldiers in the checkpoints or whatever, just putting on helmets where they didn't have helmets before, and they put on body armor where they didn't have body armor before, nothing else changed. Everyone was just. It was just
Going
a Tuesday.
About, yeah, it was a Tuesday.
It was just a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Even to the point that there was, as I was seeing the news and the missile exchanges and the drone strikes and all this stuff. I was talking about this. I was talking about this in front of a Pakistani brother for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And then he just chimed in and said, oh, yeah, by the way, I saw an Indian drone crash in front of me and explode.
Yeah.
I mean, well, about 500 meters away or 600 meters away. I said, oh, did you record it? I was like, well, no. It's like, okay, I thought that was something would be unusual, or, considering I think there hasn't been a direct strike on internationally recognized India and Pakistan territories from each other, at least in about, if I'm getting this correctly, 54 years, I think, 1971.
71.
So I come at the
Kargil happened way later, yeah.
But that was not strike on direct internationally recognized territories. So they actually to strike the territories which are internationally recognized
71,
since 71. So I happened to come at the one point after 54 years where
maybe you
India
caused
and
it.
Pakistan.
Telling you. It's the English.
I'm starting
Telling
to.
you, it's the English.
I'm starting to think that a lot of things started to happen around me when I was in Pakistan. Funnily enough, including even also the neighboring country, Iran, gets struck by Israel in the most serious strike
During your whole visit?
Was that during my visit?
So now I'm starting to
I
get
had
suspicious.
I had to.
Where else are you going next?
I think people were saying to me, I think you should go before more things happen in this
Where are you
region.
going next?
because-
I want to know that.
People,
Why don't you go to Tel Aviv for a change? Yeah?
people suspecting that I may or may not be one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, as the Christians call it.
Could be.
But
You're our red heifer.
yeah. So subhanallah. So that was a very interesting experience, and there's a ton of things happened to me in Pakistan. And I think one thing I'll say about Pakistan to anyone that goes there is, whatever you might say about Pakistan, whatever people say about Pakistan, you will never ever be bored in Pakistan.
What,
Right?
what do you mean by whatever we can? What do you mean by whatever we can say about Pakistan?
Like whatever
kidding,
people,
I'm kidding.
whatever
No,
people,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding,
No,
yeah.
whatever people say, it was like there's always something happening, interesting.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah, we love the drama. We create drama. If there's
Yeah.
no drama, we start killing each other. Yeah,
Subhanallah.
there's got to be drama. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I only stayed in north areas of Pakistan. I didn't go to
that's
the
where
south.
the drama is.
That's where the drama is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of drama in the Balochistan areas and although in KPK areas, but like I heard there was like shootings.
Those are
on
the
way to
directors of the
Peshawar.
drama. That's the direct. That's where the director.
Oh, that's where it's planned. That's where the producers and directors of the
No,
drama.
producers are in Punjab.
Oh, okay.
The director in KPK.
Or in
Yeah.
KVK.
Yeah.
Okay, subhanallah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an amazing trip for me. But I've been to many other countries in the Muslim world, but this was the first country, first non-Arab Muslim country
Okay.
that I
So
went
you
to.
practically went to Mexico, Muslim Mexico. Yeah.
That's Peshawar. I
Yeah,
would say
that's-
is
yeah,
Muslim
Mexico.
Muslim Mexico.
Yeah.
The city looks like
You know, in
Mexico
Pashto,
and,
the language, Mexico is called Mexico.
Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, in Pashto.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
subhanallah.
Can you imagine that? That's how Mexican we are.
That's not Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it was one of the things that I think was quite fascinating for me, and this is just, I mean, I knew it in theory. I knew that there was multiple ethnic groups in Pakistan in theory. I read it. But when you go there, you fully appreciated that because most Pakistanis in UK are Punjabis. And
No, they're not. They're Kashmiris. Kidding. That's a joke. Yeah, go on.
I think
So actually, they are Kashmiris. That part
do
of the,
Mirpur count? Mirpur
that's
is-
Kashmir. Yeah. That's,
But I heard they're not ethnically Kashmiri in Mirpur.
there's this country called Azad Kashmir.
Right.
That's
yes,
a
yeah.
sovereign country with the real prime minister. Ish.
There's a bit of a history there, say the least. Yeah,
but
subhanallah.
that's still they have their own. I mean, when they come to Pakistan, Punjab, they call it. You know what, mommy, I'm going to Pakistan. They don't say I'm going to Lahore or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a real
subhanallah.
country. You know, I don't know why they didn't tell you that.
I didn't actually go to Azad Kashmir this time round. I did want to go, but
No, we try
I
to
spent the
find
first
to
couple
go
of
there,
weeks,
but we never find Azad Kashmir. We only find Kashmir. You know, there's no Azad Kashmir.
well, you know, technically,
Another Pakistani
all of,
joke, I'm
all of
sorry.
Pakistan, you could say is Azad Pakistan because it escaped the Hindu nationalism of India. You could
Did
say.
it? You know what? On that note, I just want to give Lahore back. You know, I'm just kidding. Because on that definition, they didn't
There's a lot of in jokes I heard about it in Pakistan, especially
Yeah.
when one person asked me. It was a monologue from the Eon podcast. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's based in Lahore,
does ring a bell.
and he was
A
telling
big church bell.
he was telling me, and sorry to name you and shame you, telling me, you know, like what's the problem with UK Pakistanis? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? What's the problem with UK Pakistanis? And he said like, they're different from you know, Pakistanis in Pakistan and even Punjabis the average Punjabi. I say, why is that? And he gave me this interesting theory. He said that they are different because they come from Mirpur and Jhelum. And they that mindset, apparently there's a reputation. This is an internal, you know better than I do, internal Pakistani,
It's an internal, it's an inside joke. But
inside
that is
joke,
true, by the
and,
way. You know, it's
their
a
mindsets
miraculous
are
thing
quite
going
different.
on. It's not just the mindset, it's the phenotype as well. They have this little crew cut with, you know, shaven heads, and they have this certain accent, and they're wearing gold all the time.
Oh, phenotype, that's a genetic, the genetic component.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain identity of the Pakistani British, which there is nobody else in Canada, America, Australia, France, wherever Pakistanis go. They don't become that. The Pakistani British, he just, you know, from right off the Heathrow airport, they send him to the barber, then they send him to the jeweler, and then they send him to this certain accent that every Pakistani British has. It's a thing. Okay, that's not an English accent. They have a certain accent, which I have been to every city in England. I still have not heard that accent.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
subhanallah.
that's so unique. They came up with the new English.
All right,
You know?
subhanallah. So yeah, I heard about all the in jokes in Pakistan about the different peoples and things like this, and obviously there's a lot of in jokes about the Pakistani Pashtun, Peshawaris, and so on. They kind of gruff, tough, and
Peshawari, they're not Pashtuns. Pashtuns are Pashtuns. Peshawari, are Hindko people.
from Peshawar.
Peshawar has two splits. When the Hindko people, they're called Peshawaris. And the Pashtuns are called Pashtuns. You know the Pashtuns.
Yeah. But Peshawar is a Pashtun majority city, right?
No, it's a 50-50 split.
Oh, with
The
Hindko
Peshawaris
speakers
and the Pashtuns.
and
Yeah.
Hindko speakers.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that was a very interesting city. I had a few experiences there, to say the least. But
But you can't tell the difference between a Pash because that's they're going to look the same.
well,
yeah.
I use this to my advantage. When I wore shalwar kameez, and I had never previously worn a shalwar kameez before going to Pakistan. I used to wear like a jalabiya, the usual Arabic stuff. But what I discovered actually, I'm a convert now to shalwar kameez because shalwar kameez, it's loose, it's light, it's comfortable, and you can run in it, right? And it's also modest at the same time. Whereas the jalabiya, the long thing, you can't run in it if you have to do a lot of running. I'm not saying you have to do a lot of running in Pakistan, but it's useful, it's practical. I liked it, and when I wore it, people thought I was Pashtun until I opened my mouth. Even other Pashtun thought I was Pashtun until I opened my mouth. So I liked
thought
that.
you were Pashtun when I first looked at you. Yeah.
I like to
So
blend
your
in.
DNA actually goes through some part of Europe, right?
Yeah.
So Pashtuns are Europeans. They still call themselves the lost tribe of the Bani Israel.
But I've heard those rumors.
Yeah.
I think they're.
I actually believe that to be true.
I think
I've lived
they're
with them. Trust me.
They're maybe just what they call. I think there's remnants of the Aryan invasion, or the Aryans as they call.
My best and the closest friends are Pashtuns. I practically live there, so I know. I know the whole. Plus, they're the best people to be around. They have the best food, and they're the most loyal friends. Okay. Plus, they are the only hope I have for a Muslim identity in the world. World, not just Pakistan. The world. They have kept that culture intact where the archetype of the man is still there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The organic man still exists in KPK, in our part of the world, which I do not see anywhere else in the world.
And they know how to grill some very good meat, or grill
Every kind of animal. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it was actually really, really tasty. The meat there. So basically, it was very eye opening for myself, because I've been studying, you could say, the Muslim world. Obviously, my background is I'm coming from a.
So when they say Andalusia, are you actually from Spain?
Portugal.
Oh, okay. Was Portugal ever a part of Andalusia?
Yeah, Al Andalus refers to the whole Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah, so the current Portuguese culture, do they actually talk about? I mean, they have those monuments and everything. I've never been to Portugal, so.
Portugal has many castles that were built by Muslims.
They're
yes.
not converting to churches by now?
Oh well, all the mosques. I mean, all the mosques were converted to churches. But what you'll see is that we have many churches which are still built on the original frame that the mosque was built on. But they converted, obviously.
It's going to keep happening, to and fro.
Yeah,
whoever's going to take over.
First,
they're going to convert the churches, and then the mosques, and then the churches. Yeah.
So no, it's not really well known. But we have many Arabic words in the Portuguese.
I know. Yeah, that's
language.
exactly why I thought this.
We don't call olive oil like maybe Italians would. We call it azeite.
Oh. I did not know that.
We even say, like, if I'll see you tomorrow, Oxalá in Portuguese is the actual word, Oxalá. In Spanish they call it Ojalá.
So you speak Portuguese, like?
Yes.
Yeah, it's your first language.
No. English my first language.
So Portuguese you learned later.
Yeah. Well, as
cousins and
I would go to Portugal, obviously as a kid, and
you picked it up.
Oh yeah, because all my family speak Portuguese, and that's
okay, that's okay.
It just awesome. picked it up. So it was
first time I saw you was on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were debating those. I don't know. You were atheists, or I don't know. I don't remember what they were, but their arguments were against Islam, and you and Muhammad Ijaz were sitting together.
Oh yes, that was in Oxford. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't get to see. In that video, there is no part of his job, so it's only your video. Somebody else posted it on your channel. And you were talking about you're trying to counsel them into some sense. That's the first time I ever saw you. It was like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
This video, yeah.
Yeah, that video has been doing the rounds quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was an interesting debate because it had a infamous or famous, depending on your perspective, atheist YouTuber who was at that point was
I never
upcoming
knew him.
guy
Yeah,
called
I still don't know him.
Cosmic Skeptic or Alex O'Connor.
I wouldn't know him. Yeah, okay.
And some another atheist guy, which I think most people have forgotten now because he's not as well known.
So it's interesting that I had never known a debate with atheists like this or ever, because I grew up in America, by the way, and worked in Canada and spent a lot of my years in Canada, but I never saw atheists coming out to debate.
Oh, okay.
And I, on TV and YouTube, we would watch D-Dot and Zakir Naik, and they never have atheists. They have Christians or Hindus, right? In Canada and America, Christians actually really debate. They really debate. I've never seen England coming up with a Christian talking to a Muslim coming, into till of course Hyde Park video started getting famous, and that's way later. I was in Pakistan, so you've never been to Hyde Park and anything, right?
Of course.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Speaker's Corner.
I did not. I never.
A lot of us started out. You could say a Speaker's Corner. I mean, I went there since I was 17.
I want, since we're on the topic, I want you to explain to me the psychology of Muslims going to a Speaker's Corner. What's the point?
That is something which I think was initially, you could say it's a British institution, or at least in London anyway, where every Sunday people go and it's meant to be say what you want in a public place where people gather.
Say what you want, but why are we putting Islam into
these things? I mean, technically, there's no special law that says you can say whatever you want, because the law still applies, and if you say things which are against the law, you'll still be prosecuted. But it was meant to be an encouraged, you could say, tradition. And many Muslims, when they wanted to give, there was obviously a strong da'wah movement since the 90s. And they thought, well, here's a place where non-Muslims are going to be going to listen. So we will present Islam.
It's about going on every time I see. I mean, are there people who are actually there to listen, or because every time I'm thinking it's this be that going on, and I'm thinking, why would Muslims start to choose on their own just to go there and just try and just going to get my head around this concept. So why are Muslims doing it?
Well, you know what? For me, after I became Muslim, about 3 or 4 years later, so I was around 18 years old, or 17 years old, plus or minus. I went to Speaker's Corner. I heard about it, and I thought, well, if Islam is true, then I would like to, share that with the world. But I actually spent about 6 months when I going to Speaker's Corner, literally just listening, because I never heard people make in person arguments and counter arguments.
It's in London, right?
Yeah, Hyde Park.
I wouldn't know where it is.
Next to Marble Arch. Okay, it's quite central in London,
Okay.
right? So I went there, and a lot of it I started to learn about the alleged counter arguments,
Allegations
Islam,
and
accusations, and many things against Islam. And I thought, okay, well, a lot of this I have never heard before. Let me research it. Let me have a look to see this, because I thought the best way to explain Islam is to go head forth into its detractors and to refute them. The Quran is full of many responses and refutations.
But you guys were doing it way before YouTube.
Oh yeah, there was no YouTube back then.
So what's the point? And now I can see at least some sort of a reach. Otherwise, you're just talking to this guy who's hellbound not to agree to whatever you're saying. So it's like
there are what we call the regulars, right? And then there are tourists, there are locals, people just coming to see what it's like, or just to listen.
In your own experience, did anyone ever change?
Yeah, we've converted. I know me and
guys who were arguing.
Converted.
Did you change any?
Yes, yeah,
really,
yeah, converted quite a few people, and it was also the learning experience that I gained out of that, as well as many others. We accelerated our learning of Islam, because the thing is, I discovered that people who don't share your belief will ask you questions that maybe might not necessarily have thought yourself. Or they're trying to find the gaps. They're trying to find the weaknesses.
Yeah. It actually helps you refresh your own.
And I coined the term, and I will claim this. I coined the Dawah gym. I call this the Dower gyms, where
Yeah.
you work out
Yeah, I gotcha.
to build
You refresh your own, yeah.
your intellectual and muscles and your knowledge, because you get asked questions, and then these questions serve as an impetus for you to do research to answer those very specific questions. Because
I gotcha.
if you're not asked anything, and one of the great things was, and I think this is something that should obviously be done more, is that when people ask questions, and if you don't know the answer, it's never a shame to say, you know, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question because I haven't looked in that particular one. So let me go research that, and I'll come back to you.
Yeah, well, most people are not going to do that because they're going to afraid of the gotcha moment sort of thing.
No, because
I know what you're saying.
There's
but
no shame in saying that.
For you, it's not because you're
It
developed.
it doesn't mean that, you know, Islam doesn't have the answer. It's just that I might not
Then
know
what?
Islam's answer.
See,
and
so the pressure on you.
that's
That what are you doing on the speaker's corner then? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'm not saying that's the right thing. You're doing the right thing here. Most of the people would fall for the wrong thing because of their little subconscious voice coming out of the ego.
Mm-hmm.
That once that I'm in the ring. Now I can't say, oh, you know what, I took a jab. Let me just go back and see how I'm going to counter this jab. You're in the ring now. You know what I'm saying?
because the cameras are on.
You gotta,
I
yeah,
suppose
exactly.
so.
Yeah,
I
you got to
suppose
take the fall.
to some extent.
No,
yeah.
I'm not saying that's the best answer. Again, that's literally Islam. If you don't know the answer, just tell them I don't know the answer. You cannot concoct truth. You know what I'm saying? And plus, you cannot just add your own opinion and call it the final word of God. So you're right about it. That's the thing. That's the one thing that Muslim kids should learn. How did that become a Shia Sunni corner as well, and the Deobandi Salafi corner as well? That's where I don't know how. Is that one of the recent things, or it was going on since day one? I found out Daniel Hakikatju because of those videos.
Because of those videos, okay.
I fell in love with that guy, though. Most of the people don't like him. I love that guy because of all the reasons that if I ever talk to him, I'll tell him. And I was talking to Hijab, and he said, you know, his name pops up, and I'm like, yeah, have you met him? I want to talk to this guy. And he says, why? I said, don't worry, I've got a plethora of reasons. I want to, because that's the one kind of, you know, he's like, you know, Jack Dempsey, you know, in boxing, right? England boxing.
Okay, yeah.
He's like the, you know, the fast middleweight boxer, you know, and we have very few of them. And he's so crisp in so many things. And if he were ever to listen to this, and my team should send him some sort of a tag, stop debating Muslims. You're so good at, you know, I need this kind of potential for these kind of interfaces where non-Muslims are coming in and, you know, again, you know, the one guy who I think is at a certain superior level of psychology, where even if he's wrong, he can correct himself. And if he's not wrong, he's the best way to present himself. You know, that's one thing. That's why, you know, when I saw your debate with the atheist, I'm like, oh, okay, this dude's standing tall, and he's not trying to please them. He's not trying to come common
Maybe because I am tall, but probably.
No, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not.
Yeah, I
talking,
know. Yeah.
So it doesn't happen because, like, I'll give you an example. Zakir Naik, he does not do that. Zakir Naik is, you know, he's always coming down to please or appease the ego of the person. Deedat, he did not do that. Deedat did the exact opposite, which is required, by the way. That you got to suppress the ego first, because it's not about who's talking. It's about what I'm talking about. You know, Zakir Naik does not do that. Zakir Naik does the exact opposite. That's where the superior bird and the inferior bird actually is differentiated. So I'm not saying I'm taking any credit out of Zakir Naik. I love that guy, but he is not the right, you know, archetype for the organic man in this sort of a job to be projected.
I mean,
I'm talking academically, of course.
I mean, I suppose Zakir Naik's context was that obviously he was in a Hindu majority
Hence,
state.
yeah, he was not developed. Yeah, he's not. He couldn't develop him.
If he went a bit too ideologically aggressive,
same
they
country.
would. South Africa. Ahmadidat's from South Africa.
He went to South Africa as an immigrant. He was raised in India. He grew up in India. First, he came to Pakistan, by the way, when Pakistan was made.
Okay.
And then you were like, you guys were joking. Were you kidding about Islam and all of that stuff? And then he took off. But Ahmadidat is as Indian as it gets. Obviously, South Africa is not a Muslim country, so he was a minority there as well. So same kind of thing applies. If something happened that happened with his parents, and he was, raised in a household where he got that strength, and he had that vigor and that assertiveness that pans out into most of his work. And I wish more Muslim boys and girls would actually lean towards Ahmad Didat and go towards his technique, psychological technique. Of course, you still have to learn whatever you have to learn.
Yeah,
So
arguing from a position of that we're actually on the uppermost, as the Quran says we should be.
there you go.
From
Yes,
the
we
uppermost
are.
position as
We're not
opposed to
looking down upon you,
inferior,
but
yeah.
we are looking down at your philosophy. We're trying to lift it up. That's the angle Didat had, and that's the angle I'm telling you. I saw in your video. That's what I'm like. Whoa, caught the eye, because I look for these markers when I'm looking at. And Daniel, that's the guy. I'm telling you. And that's why I keep bumping heads with hijab, because hijab actually comes off as a guy who's not gonna just give in. He's not gonna give in. He's gonna keep. No one's gonna throw his towel in the ring.
Well, he literally does go into the ring and in a literal ring, and
Yeah, that's where I cut
does
the-
does a fight. But well, I mean, actually, I kind of wanted to ask you a question, really, which was based on my experiences and in Pakistan and learning more about Pakistani society. So when I said to you before that I obviously in a semi-serious way that I was a Jahiliologist in the Muslim world, because one of the things is that we have the Quran and Sunnah, and we have the ideals of Islam, we have the stories of the prophets and the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have the life and times of the Sahabas and what they did and how they sacrificed and they strove and they expanded the realm of Islam and brought justice and spread justice to the rest of the world. We have all this, and yet looking at the Muslim world, you'd think that Muslims had, apart from knowing the name Allah and the rituals of prayer, they hadn't heard of the rest of it, right? They hadn't heard of the rest of these. They hadn't heard of these stories and the mindset of the Sahaba, and they don't. But simply, Islam is adopted to them as a label, as a set of ritual actions they do. But everything else is left to cultural whimsy of their society, and in a sense an ignorance of the religion and not implementing of the religion. And one of the things I felt I was very perplexing to me 20 years ago, as a young person, was, well, Islam says this. Why aren't we doing it, right? Like as a society, you don't have to be a perfect Muslim to at least enact Islamic laws and rules.
People use this very phrase. People try. Every individual tries, because Islam says this. I should at least try. That's the first 5-6 years of every Pakistani's life, and I'm sure every Egyptian's life, every Muslim's life. First 5-6 years, because he's innocent, he's naive, he's trying to.
Well, as children, but the issue is what happens to the adults, because. So one of the things I noticed was, although I've met many Muslims from around the world in UK and in my travels, mostly to many other Western countries, and when I've gone to the Muslim world, it's always been, up until the time of going to Pakistan, Arab countries. And one of the things that I really was stuck on, you could say, in terms of direct observation, was I couldn't isolate Arabic culture from Muslim mindset. Because I wanted to say, well, what is the common denominator amongst Muslims that's beyond a cultural mindset? And so
You couldn't isolate.
Well, in a
other
sense
than
of
the Arabian land, there is no Arabian culture.
we're talking about my
Inside Arabia.
experiences. So in my experiences prior to has been mostly in terms of direct observation, so
what you're
direct
saying is
study of.
you go to Dubai.
I've
you're
only
gonna
gone to
see-
Arab countries,
Yeah, yeah. So
and
if you
I
go
haven't
to-
been to non-Arab countries until I went to
gotcha.
Pakistan. And so when I went to Pakistan, this was my, in a sense, although I've met Muslims from Malaysia, I've met Muslims from Turkey, I've met Muslims that are have just come from these countries, and I've spoken to them. But to actually be in their society, and observe directly and feel, rather than just reading about it, was what I've always wanted to do. And Pakistan was my first non-Arab Muslim country, and I started to see, there are aspects which are, you could say, Arabs have various cultural levels of these mindsets, but there are things which, obviously, Pakistanis and presumably Turks and Malays and Persians and others who are not Arabs, they don't share this, but they are things that they do share that I deem are roadblocks to the implementation of Islam
Like what?
Well, fundamentally speaking, one of the things I've seen in all Muslim countries is that people have their view of Islam is one where they get told by their parents that here's a bunch of things that you need to do, right? Be successful, don't bring shame to the family. There's something, your God is Allah, pray to him with his ritual prayers. When Ramadan comes, don't forget to fast, and make sure you say the Shahada at least once in your life, and then if you can, then there's the other bit. If you can do all these things, get ahead in society, get a good job, get whatever you can, but if you can, do it without lying and without cheating, what have you. But if you have to get these, to make it ahead in the society, Allah will understand, because it's just, our societies are, there's corruption and you have to navigate that. And so Allah will understand you being an imperfect Muslim. They call it being an imperfect Muslim. So what I realized was that Muslims across these countries, not in any one country, across these countries, were taught Islam as something simply as, this is what my parents told me, this is what my society is doing, and Islam is, and I've often said, Islam, the problem in the Muslim world I realized was Islam is part of our lives. That's the problem. And I always say it like this, and people say, what are you talking about? Islam is taught us.
I actually coined it in Pakistan, part-time Muslims.
Oh, really? You call us, okay, well, great minds then, yeah. Islam is part of our lives, but it's not our purpose in life. And when I went to the Muslim countries, and I've seen it now consistently now, so it's beyond cultural barriers, you could say, although I haven't technically seen Iran or Turkey or Malaysia or Indonesia or Bangladesh to make a full comparison. But I've seen that the Muslim mindset is generally doing the bare minimum in life, because the purpose in life, because they don't have a purpose, it's simply, I'm born and I'm going to obviously get to a point where I'm dying. And how do I get from A to B with the least effort and fuss possible? And that is the Muslim mindset. We always do the bare minimum. We don't think ahead. We're not. That's why whenever Muslims look at the West or they go to the West, they've always said, I don't understand the Westerners are like robots. They're always busy. And they're not. They never take time out, or why are they always busy all the time? When they don't realize that, that's because the West has, albeit a false one, but they have a purpose that they have been taught that they have to achieve in life. Well, the Western purpose in life, is they think, is to achieve the maximal sensual gratification. So they have this as a purpose in life. It brings misery to them, because that's not what humans are meant to be doing, or how we're meant to be, the mindset we're meant to be having. But the thing in the Muslim world, and even China has a similar understanding, but the Muslim world has an absence of a purpose in life. We exist to just exist. Get through life and then die. That was what I noticed in the Muslim world, is that the Muslim world is, I often ask the question, what is the purpose of Egypt? What's the purpose of Turkey? What's the purpose of Pakistan? Apart from being a safe haven for Muslims from India, what's the purpose?
No, that's not the purpose of Pakistan.
Well, I mean, some people might counter that. That's the only country initial purpose.
Other than Israel and Pakistan are the two countries which actually were founded on a purpose, written down.
Yeah, as refuges from persecution.
Establishing for the establishment of the house of all Muslims.
Well, I suppose from the Indian subcontinent, yes, but I don't think
not Indian.
You can go to Pakistan and say, I'm a Muslim, can I get automatic citizenship?
That was designed into our system. It's not implemented. Otherwise, our ideology is the same. That's exactly why we actually made the country.
Oh yeah, well, as a refuge for Muslims, yes, of course.
Yeah, but a homeland for the Muslims, not a refuge. Homeland, a model village sort of thing. We have our own Theodore Herzl,
Theodore Herzl, yeah.
We have our own,
Muhammad Ali Jinnah, right?
Yeah, he actually hand wrote it, and that's the guy who actually is behind all the the ideology, and that's how I believe what I believe about Pakistan. And I don't listen to anybody else or read anything else. I know what he said, I know what he believed, and I know what he was moving for. Mm-hmm. That's the only pride that I have the same passport as this dude,
Sure, but when I refer to a purpose, I would say, for example, like
I'm coming back to the purpose.
The national interest.
Yeah, I know.
Being
There's
being
forget about Pakistan for now. Yeah, Egypt or
the
Afghanistan or Indonesia. Yeah, you're right. No, but you know what my problem is, because your answer lies in your own question. First of all, let's just take West for just aside for just 1 second, because I want to argue on how I disagree with what the purpose of the Western civilization is, because I know what's going on there. But you converted to Islam?
Yes.
How old were you?
At 14.
What were you told what Islam's purpose is? Not your purpose. What's Islam's purpose?
The purpose of Islam is Allah's pleasure.
That's not the purpose of Islam.
So yes, a submission for
In
Allah's
the Deen
pleasure.
Indallah Islam, Islam is with Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal did not create Islam for His pleasure.
No, I mean the
Yeah,
purpose of
you're talking about
submitting,
its
of
purpose.
submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's purpose of Muslims.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about purpose
And
of
Islam
Muslims.
is the submission.
Yeah, of Muslims, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so what is the purpose of Islam? It's not to submit Muslims.
The purpose of Islam is submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah. Okay, let me just think,
Which-
just draw a line. Okay, in your own mind, draw a line, because what you're saying is, okay, the purpose of doctors is to cure, but that's not the purpose of biology, right?
Well, no, biology is the study of living things.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a study.
Yes.
Islam is not a study, right? Islam is a orchestra of different parts coming together inside the way Allah Azza wa Jal created the whole universe, right?
Well, Islam is a state, is a state of being. So being in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You're just talking about your state of Islam. You're talking about your state of Islam. You're not talking about Islam. You know what I'm saying? When Allah says in the Quran, "Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam," He's talking about Himself. That Allah has Islam. You know? Inna Deena Indallahi al-Islam. Indallah means Allah has, the closest to Allah. You know, which means, in Arabic, He has it. Okay? So, Allah is not going to submit to Allah, right?
Of course not.
Yeah, obviously, we're not Christians. There's no Jesus submitting to His Father in our religion, right?
Yeah,
No,
but-
you know why I'm saying that? Listen, I don't want to confuse Muslims looking at this, watching this video. See, when I bring someone to my class, I tell them, you know what? This is what you're gonna do after your class is done, the whole course. You're gonna have to do this. It's a professional course. You're gonna have to perform this and this. Once this course is done, there's a reason. There's a purpose of this course. You know what I'm saying? What we doing to Muslims, especially when you were being converted, somebody said, you know what, you got to be a good guy in the eyes of Allah, and that's your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You should have been told what's the purpose of goodness. And I'm just simplifying this. That's why Muslims are doing whatever they're doing, because no Muslim that I know of knows the purpose of Islam. Only those scholars who actually went through it and just keep on writing stuff, nobody gets to read that, because they've been alienated because it's too high and too philosophical. And I'm not talking spiritual Sufism or anything, right? I'm talking about the actual core and flesh and bone of Islam.
So what, in your view, is the purpose of Islam?
The purpose of Islam is that every part, everything that Allah Azza wa Jal created, especially us, everything, has to submit to Allah Azza wa Jal in a single harmonious system.
So submission to God. Submission
In
to Allah
a
subhanahu wa
single
ta'ala.
harmonious system. That's the purpose of Islam, to get every moving part in a single machine and then submit to Allah and connect it to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the word deen, see? Now, Islam is not a noun. Deen is here making it a verb. Deen al-Islam means that there is a certain manual of Islam, and there's a purpose of this manual. Once this manual is read and everyone implements it, this car is going to move. And it's going to move towards Allah, obviously, but there's a car that's going to move. And someone's got the door, someone's got the knob, someone's got the steering, someone's got the gear, someone's got the seats. Everyone's going to come in together unless everybody comes together and moves, and someone puts the fuel and moves. Islam is not done. Islam hasn't even started. Otherwise, I'm holding the door, you're holding the seat, someone's holding the steering, someone's holding the wheel, and we're all calling ourselves Muslims. Yeah, okay, but nothing's been done yet, right? Hear me out here. And everyone is a true Muslim because he's actually holding the wheel. Someone's actually holding the steering. Someone's actually holding the metal. Someone's actually holding everyone has got the right part, even if we say that they do have the right parts.
Right.
But they're not coming together. There's no car. but everyone's a Muslim. There is no one moving. Everyone's a Muslim. Everyone's pious. Everyone's God-fearing. Everyone's doing whatever they think was supposed to be done. Everyone's somewhere even together. Let's just assume that they're together. I know they're not. And if they were to come together, common sense would have prevailed, and common sense question would have been like, why are you holding the wheel? I got one, you got one. Why don't you just put all of them together? There are only 4 wheels. There's a steering. It's got to be a purpose of the steering, right? And connect them with the wheels. Everyone would have made the car in their own mind, their own self. If they all were come together. That's why my problem is of all of these people getting fragmented. But forget about that. Even if everyone comes together now, you holding one wheel, I'm holding the steering. I'm myself a Muslim in my own book. You could be a great Muslim in your own book. There is no connection between your purpose and my purpose, because unless everybody comes together as single purpose, we're not going to make the car's not going to move, right?
Well, I think we're saying the same things, but
no, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the application. Let me get out of the metaphor.
Maybe you're elaborating further, because for us to work together in the same system, we have to share that same or the same. Well, you said
I'll tell you the
unified.
Let me come out of the metaphor.
We have to have that same purpose. We have
we have a purpose. I'll tell you
that same vision.
Yeah, the word is used in the Quran so many times. So come out of the car metaphor. Let's come into the real terminology. So if every Muslim comes together, puts the rules of governance in, puts the laws, puts the social laws, the civil law, the political system together, the financial system together, everybody comes in and puts all of those machines together, only then Islam is functional. Before that, there is no Islam. That's what I'm not using metaphors anymore.
Yeah.
So you being Muslim here fetches Islam nothing. Me being Muslim in Pakistan fetches Islam nothing. This is the purpose of Islam. Islam is a machine, it's a system. And you are you're a part of the machine. That's way more important sometimes than I am or anybody else is. Sometimes somebody else is way more important because of the kind of context that we're looking at the machine in, or the kind of times Muslims are in. So right now, you doing whatever you're doing fetches me nothing. Me doing whatever I'm doing fetches you nothing. That's what Palestine is going through, right? Whatever we do fetches them nothing. So unless everybody comes together into a single machine, and that machine is working for the purpose, right? Allah Azza wa Jal, no one's benefiting, nothing.
Well, as I said, I've been saying this for decades. The revival of the Muslim world via establishing Islam at all levels. But my point was simply,
let me just add one thing so that
individual, social, societal.
Individually, not individual. I'm sorry. When you were being converted to Islam, you should have been told that you're a unit of a machine. Find the machine, put this unit to the use. And if someone is not using it right, teach them. Because there is a machine. If the machine is not working, you're a useless unit. And you're not born useless. You were born as a very valuable unit. Because this machine cannot miss in a single unit. Right? Every Muslim comes together. Now, if you look at the Seerah, you look at the Quran, you combine these two pieces of the puzzle, you'll find out why Meccan period did not initiate the machine of Islam. The machine of Islam was made by the Uqbi Sahaba. They came together, Meccans and Medinas gelled in together into a machine, and Prophet ﷺ started driving the machine.
I mean, the machine started in Medina. And Yathrib became Al-Medina, the city. The first
Something happened.
That was that was the beginning.
No, the beginning was Bayt Uqba. Medina was just a manifestation of Uqba, right?
But as I said, it didn't relate to needing Mecca to unite with Medina. It was started in Medina and then spread from there. So that was the beginning, you could say, of the machine.
Medina did not need Mecca.
Yeah.
Medina needed the Prophet ﷺ.
Of course.
And Prophet ﷺ had to go back to Mecca to get what? To get the Kaaba. To get the Haram back in its place.
Yeah, but the machine of Islam, the state, was established in Yathrib, and hence it was called Al-Medina, and then that was the beginning.
But then why would they just go back to?
You might call this.
No, Kaaba is a part of the Islamic machine. There's a reason why Kaaba is Kaaba. Masjid al-Haram there's a reason. It's like, let's just say that's the real piston of this engine. That's the only piston of this engine. Okay, there's a reason. Forget about that discussion. What I'm saying is, whatever happened in the Prophet's life, he was doing it by design. It was just not haphazardly being done. Okay, today this has happened. Let's just go to Mecca. Okay, let's just go to Taif and let's just go to Rome.
Yeah, there was an organized society with
with
laws led by
there's an
led
algorithm
by him,
here.
a state in Medina, and then because they had that state, they could have an army and they could then take over Makkah at the right time when they had built up their strength. But my point is, I think we're saying the same things basically.
So if there were no politics in
which
Medina, Islam would not. You and I would not have been Muslims. The purpose of Islam would not have even started, let alone get finished in the time of the Prophet Islam. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll maybe give you
and wars and the armies.
I'll maybe give you an analogy to that we can you could say agree on, which is, well, I'm going to use the example of IKEA. IKEA furniture has all these different. You buy it and you have to put it together, and all these pieces come out and so on. So imagine there's an IKEA furniture and all the pieces were sentient and. They all didn't realize that they were meant to be formed together to make furniture, right? They were doing their own thing, or they
firewood.
They thought individually they could be furniture. Say no, your pieces, your purpose is to be furniture, and they say okay, you have to get all of them to basically realize this, and then when they say okay, well we've accepted this purpose, what do we do? Well, here's the instruction manual. Here's how you all fit together to make this furniture.
No, hold on.
But it does start. It starts with.
It doesn't take the Quran to make them come together in certain departments and domains. England does not have the Quran. It has the domains. It's working in a system. America is working in a system. That's ingrained in human psychology and in our system. We will come up with our own laws, which will make a lot of sense, by the way, or we'll make our own systems in politics and governance and policies and public policy. And, Romans did that with the Bible, against the Bible, and it worked really well for them. The Quran only reminds us of the path. It does not create the path for us. You need to understand. The path is already within us. Quran is mimicking our own being all the time as a group, as a human beings.
So, well, I would concur. I mean, I would say that basically, yes, humans, as Aristotle pointed out, humans are social creatures. We form societies. We will naturally form states. But what Islam is guiding us, I mean, we naturally have families. But what does Islam do? It guides us. We naturally want to pray to something greater than ourselves. What does Islam do? It says, here's who you pray to. Here's how you do it. What is the direction of this thing you want to do.
Not just the prayer, but the political system as well, the social system as well.
Yeah.
And it makes us incumbent upon us, mandatory to do that.
Yeah. What does justice look like? What does a fair economic system look like?
What does power look like?
Exactly. Yeah. So yes, we will naturally do those things. And in one sense, I remember when someone asked the question to Noman Ali Khan, they said, should we have Islamic State? Should we work for Khilafah and so on? And he said, Muslims can't even wake up for Fajr. How can we have a state?
Absolutely nothing to do with this.
And I agree with you, which is like, well, we actually already have 50 plus states.
Yeah.
We know we do states.
Without praying.
Is it a big problem simply to say, can we just make the laws of those states Islam and make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the basis for the laws?
Somebody should tell Noman Ali Khan that NATO is working on the Khilafah model. They combine the currency, they combine the laws, they combine the systems, they combine the wealth. That's as much as Khilafah as possible, you can get, except for the Shahada. Literally 80% of all Khilafah is being run by NATO right now. Without the Kalama, Shahada, Kalama, Namaz, Zakat, Hajj. Okay, so it doesn't take a Namazi
and the laws and things. Yeah, no, I mean
they have their own laws,
but without the laws from the Quran and Sunnah. But but I would concur.
Most of the laws that they have are Judeo-Christian laws. If the Sharia was to be implemented in Europe, let's just say, we wouldn't change every law. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, they've made interest permissible.
That's one.
Or riba,
That's one,
and a few other things. But
yeah, I'm just saying.
But but my point being is, when I said, issue of purpose is I was
not talking about the law. I was talking about the system and the coming together.
But the issue is that in the Muslim world, using the IKEA analogy of the sentient pieces, the Muslims haven't actually understood Islam as a purpose in life. They only understand it as part of their culture.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So let's just say Abdullah al Andalusi is converting to Islam, right? Let's go back in time. Now, if I tell you that I'm the one who's converting you, okay? So I'm like, Abdullah, today you got this treasure. You do not need 2 billion people, because there's 2 billion people claiming to have this treasure. They do not, and they don't need it. and you don't need them as well. For your purpose to come true, you only need a handful of people who have the right meaning of the treasure which I'm giving you today. You're going to find those people, you're going to come together, and you're going to shout so loud that they can hear you and come to you because because everybody looks alike, right? I can't see this Muslim and say, he's on my same purpose, the same definition, the same kind of thing, right? So you got to be a very big preacher. You got to open big clusters, big forums, so that people who can understand this definition of purpose rhymes with this kind of grammar, they're going to come and they're going to stick to you. And make sure you understand, I'll tell you this right after, you do not ever chase 2 billion people or everyone in the world, because that's never going to happen, nor is it the purpose. And you know where I'm coming from? I'm coming from the Quran. Because the Quran does not say, every Muslim come together. Quran says, a jama'ah coming together. A handful of you will implement the system. A handful of you will do amar bil maroof wa nahy anil munkar, and also da'wa ila khair. All three things will be done by who? A small handful of you guys will be doing it all the time. Now, you need to find out that if only a handful of people define the Quran and the purpose the way you do, you got yourself a game.
Well, yeah, you need a critical mass within a society. Obviously, you don't need everyone in society, which is...
You'll be amazed as to how small that number is, in theory.
It depends on the size of the country and the
I'm talking about this 8 billion worth of planet. It took 4 Jews to fly, 2 from Europe, 2 from England. And in 48 hours, $100 billion went to Israel on the 20th of October. There's no critical mass, there's critical level of competences, not critical number of people. That's the key. That's the key where we're missing, where Muslims are missing.
Yeah, sure, but you couldn't change, let's say, overnight Pakistan with only 10 people who are not influential,
Don't
what have you.
Get
Obviously,
me
it has
started
to be...
in Pakistan, 24 hours, things happen because of some people sitting in your Downing Street right here in this city or Washington. It happens less than 24 hours every time. The whole landscape changes, every power corridor changes, every power dynamic changes. In less than 24 hours, it happened more than 10 times in Pakistan.
Because of pre-existing structures of power.
No, actually, sometimes the opposing power is being run by different countries every single time. 3 times, So 250 million people are being run by 3 or 4, maybe 40. And you're talking about critical mass. You're overinflating the expectation in a regular Muslim mind. Can be done in way less, with only the right places and right people in the right position. Okay.
No, critical mass means the number of people who are positioned in a way to actually generate the change. I didn't specify a number, but just what is a prerequisite of people to generate a change within who are...
That's the subject of the Quran. Now you actually look at the Quran, an MRI diagram, and see the political science, biology, physics, mathematics, and astronomy. And these are the kind of subject matters that we need experts in. That's it. Other than that, political science is going to create and beget its own kids. Now, most of the countries, including Pakistan or wherever, people with zero acumen of political science are running politics of the country. It doesn't take a rocket scientist in politics to be a politician. That's actually one thing that most of the world. Donald Trump is the president of America, for God's sakes. You need to understand, it's not the politicians, it's the lobby behind the politicians. That's the even smaller of a number. I mean, if you and I need to create a lobby, in, let's just say, around this city to control a certain kind of people here, you don't need 200 people. You need 3 or 4 with enough wealth, enough purpose, enough influence, and enough people who are,
But you also need the public mindset. Like Musab bin Umair, how he changed Yathrib. And subhanAllah, it was him who changed Yathrib with the dawah of Islam. Actually, wasn't the Prophet Muhammad who actually went to Yathrib first? It was Musab bin Umair. He went after the tribe, the chiefs of the Aus and Khazraj agreed.
That's the Uqba. That's what I was talking about.
Agreed to support and at least secure the dawah of Islam. And then, even you had the tribal chiefs agreeing. They had to. Not all the chiefs were in support of Islam. It had to wait for Musab bin Umayyah to go to have 12 nuqab, 12 you could say captains or sub commanders, you could say, who were giving the da'wah to the point where the hadith says that there was not one house where Islam wasn't being discussed. So there's more than just simply lobbying, because you could say maybe the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lobbied influential
he did, yeah.
The leaders of Al-Ansar, but that by itself wasn't enough to, now you can do the hijrah. No, had to wait until Medina was prepared, or Yathrib was prepared,
because
for
power,
people to want Islam.
No, people of power actually submitted
to want to.
Even if every household was not, even if every household Medina was not a Muslim.
Yeah.
And only Aus and Khazraj, Sa'd bin Ubadah, Sa'd bin Maas, and Abdullah bin Ubay and Musa bin Umair were converted, Medina was still ours. You need to understand. That's how they got Israel. That's how they got Morocco. That's how they got Somalia. That's how they got...
I mean, Abdullah bin Ubay was obviously, as you know, the chief of the hypocrites, as they called him, because he was going to be he actually didn't like the fact that Islam was actually taking over, and he wanted to be the king, the king of them.
But he was still the king of the tribe, right?
But basically, you need both. You need both the capture the public imagination as to what the purpose of Islam is. Not every single member of the public, of course, but a significant.
It's against the Quran. Public is never going to be on the righteous path. That's against this Surah Anam.
No, a collective agreement and assent to Islam. That they say, if Islam is established, we will support it
that's on a
collective basis. Not that the
powerful
public are the ones who have ilm and know all the details and so on.
They're not going to.
But
they're going to mimic the
they
powerful.
Should have a general. And then you need a critical mass of those who are movers and shakers or are influential, whatever, kingmakers, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, not to make him the king, because he already is the king. He is the Malik al-Muluk, but to have him officially recognized.
It's called the kingmaker because they got to put somebody from human beings.
Yeah. So I think we are. I think the best way to describe, we are aggressively agreeing.
No. But we need to tweak the terminology a little bit. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm telling you, most of the people will never be Muslims by the definitions of what you and I really demand, or even the Quran demands, because general mass is only going to practice as much. It is the elite of the intellectuals and the spirituals and the thinkers. They actually keep propagating higher standards, and public raises its standards. Even at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, all Sahabas were not equally pious, not equally learned, not equally knowledgeable, not equally practicing, all the Sahabas. That's not possible. And we can see that within the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was inviting for certain things and he was going for certain wars, even when the guy who actually owned the property on the Masjid Nabi, he started bargaining, and that's a very hard bargain he was trying to push. Prophet ﷺ, would you and I possibly think of bargaining anything against our Prophet ﷺ? But this guy stood firm that no, I'm not going to give in. He started, pushing. So much so that the Prophet ﷺ was feeling sad that why is he doing that? Even though those two kids owned the property and, so on and so forth. But this guy, so everybody was not the same. Everybody cannot be on the same level. Most of the people will be mimicking the people in power, no matter whether they're Muslims or they're non-Muslim. We need those that you said, when you say kingmakers, we need those kings to be mimicked. Those kings have to be pious, righteous, and well presentable in terms of their philosophy, so that people can understand what do they intend the people to do. Otherwise, lobby pushes the kings everywhere. Lobby is pushing the king. There is no king without his lobby, except, of course, 1,000 years ago, Macedonia or wherever. Yeah. Even the Sumerians had a lobby. Even the Mayans had a lobby. Even their tablets are talking about how they're actually pushing, certain people in certain powers. Human beings work like this. This is the structure of human beings. Romans had the lobby against, Isa ibn Maryam. They were using the rabbis to go against Isa ibn Maryam. They didn't want to kill Isa ibn Maryam. So it's rather a one-line process being run over and over and over again. We're just not reading into it. We are overwhelmed by the fact that there's so many people and so much to do and so many things, so many moving parts of this machine. That's why every Muslim gets overwhelmed, even though it's not such a hard job. They cracked it every single time. The Jews cracked it, the Romans cracked it, the Victorians cracked it, the Spanish cracked it, the Dutch cracked it. The Americans cracked it over and over again. We are just thinking it's too uphill of a task. It's not. We have the money in Islam, Muslims. We have the political acumen in Islam, Muslims.
We have the numbers.
We have way over the critical mass numbers. We have the brain in Islam to actually come up with progress in academic performances. We have all of this. So if physics can call the shots on most of what America has achieved, mathematics and physics, we can do this. Physics is not a property of an ethnicity or a race, right? We could do that. Politics is not a property of ethnicity or a race, even though that's literally what happens. Some ethnicity takes over. We can literally do it through money, silos, and our academic performance.
Sure.
And these are just channels and instruments.
I mean, I think, to kind of bring to the end, I think what I was trying to say is, and obviously you discuss a lot about psychology, and I'm discussing it from a mindset perspective. Not that, okay, there's a procedural way. So how do we actually, get the power and the
get the
influence
Uqbis,
and so on?
get the Uqbis, find the Uqbis.
But I'm looking at it as the Bayt al-Arqam, you could say, where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has these halaqat where he's building up the Sahaba's mindset, ready for them to do what they need to do, what they're going to be doing, leading the ummah. And what I was simply saying
give me one name of Bayt al-Arqam that led the ummah.
The initial, I mean,
you're missing schools here.
Yeah,
you're talking about Ashab Sufa. That's where Prophet ﷺ was training people. Bayt al-Arqam was a safe haven, a refugee camp, nothing else.
Well, I mean, it was where the first
I know where
Sahabas were being taught.
I know what it is.
But I'm simply just saying, look, that I only have my message only three things which I noticed. Only in terms of what was going to aid the dawah is the Muslim mindset reviving itself. And instead of just saying Muslim needs a revival, I boiled it down to three simple points. What I noticed is, if the Muslim world, let's say, we could maybe flip a switch, and even 40% or 30% of Muslims tomorrow would be Muslim not because their parents told them to be Muslim, but simply they be Muslim
take an
because
oath, like the British. Take their oath. Let every Muslim take an oath.
They question why they're Muslim, and they come to Islam, the truth of Islam, and with qat'i, with certainty, via their own investigation, so that it's founded not on based on what their parents told them, but on their own
or just ask a simple
research.
question: what's the purpose of Islam?
Okay, well, I mean, but that requires that they have to be certain as to the truth of Islam. Then the second point is, I call it situation, which is what you're talking about, purpose, which is what is the purpose of life itself? And once they question this and they say, well, it is the submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all other things actually have no meaning. Culture, society, family honor, all this
Abdullah, when we say
meaningless.
submission to Allah Azza wa Jal, that's too subjective of a phrase. Everyone believes, even Christians believe, that they're submitting to Allah Azza wa Jal. We need to split it into
making Allah the criteria of our good and bad.
That's again, Christians and Jews would concur. That is their criteria.
Well, they depending on which sect, they add a whole bunch of things into that.
It doesn't matter, but they use the word, use the same word, right?
No, because in the Muslim world, they do something else. They add culture, political expediency,
because of the fact that the purpose is defined wrong.
Exactly, right? Again, aggressively agreeing again, right? So if you situate that, look, the criteria for good and bad should and should not, obligation and prohibition is only from the creator of the universe, not from parents, not from society, not from culture, and then leading to the last point, which is Islam is a world project, a system,
global
a
system. Yes, it's a global project. There you go.
Once they have these three things, I think as a mindset, we will have radical change in the Muslim world.
Yeah, only if we use it in the same sequence, the way you did it, and we make sure these kind of terminologies are in every house, or at least some critical mass. Global project, submission, meaning of the submission of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the application of these little postulates in a young Muslim mind, so that he can actually know the meaning of what those commandments actually are in the Quran. What does it actually mean to actually do this? But if it's not a global project, I'm sorry, We're not even going to go up in physics or mathematics, even for the sake of science, because that's the
It must be
cognitive
linked to
dissonance.
every aspect of reality
Yeah.
and study therereof. Brother Sahil Adeem,
Yes.
Barakallahu feekum.
Seriously,
It has been an
seriously, it was
absolute
such a
pleasure and privilege for
Same here, sir. Same here.
the discussions, and I hope you've benefited from our
I have
aggressive
immensely.
agreement.
I have.
But it's really good, and inshallah, I look forward to having more such discussions with you.
Inshallah, yeah.
in
And
the
plus,
future.
I'm locking him into an assumptive clause that he's gonna teach it source code, inshallah.
Inshallah. My pleasure. Okay, everyone. I hope you've found this useful, interesting, thought-provoking. And yeah, please write in the comments what you thought. And continue the discussion. So until our next meeting, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.